Welcome. It is a beautiful evening, so we are glad you are here. The Gresham Budget Committee is reconvened. The time is now 6:02, so let's begin with a roll call of committee members and staff in attendance. I'd like to call on Sharon Monahan, Budget and Finance Director, to lead us through the roll call.
Great, thank you, and good evening. It's nice to see some sun out there. It's a little bit uplifting. Let's start. I'll go by alphabetical by last name. So starting with Rusty Allen.
Here.
Jan Baker.
Present.
Councillor Danucci.
Here.
And Dave Dyke.
I'm here.
Councillor Gladfelter.
Here.
Councillor Hinton is not going to be with us tonight, is my understanding. Councillor Jones-Dixon.
Here, thank you.
Claire Leiter, obviously you're here.
Here.
Nick McWilliams.
Here.
Councillor Morales. I do not see him yet on my screen. Councillor Piazza.
Here.
Mike Schultz.
Here.
Mayor Stovall.
Here, and good evening.
And Teresa Shirky.
I'm here.
Great. And from the staff side, we have City Manager Nina Vetter, I believe, on there.
Here.
And Assistant City Manager Elizabeth Coffey. I'm not doing these in alphabetical order. Sorry, they're just how they're listed. Surprise.
And good evening, everybody.
Deputy City Manager Corey Falls.
Here.
And City Attorney Kevin McConnell.
Here.
Assistant City Manager Eric Schmidt.
Good evening, everybody here.
Assistant City Manager Steve Venture.
Hi there. Here.
And Budget Manager Elizabeth McCann.
Good evening.
And we have Christina Ott is serving as our recording secretary tonight.
Good evening.
And then we have a few other staff in the background helping us just with meeting mechanics and making sure we keep everything moving. So thank you, and I'll turn it back over to you.
Thank you. So I'm going to go ahead and read the instructions for public testimony this evening. Community members who wish to speak or provide written comments were invited to sign up 24 hours prior to tonight's meeting with the recording secretary. When we get to the appropriate item on the agenda, any community members who signed up to speak will be called on, and you will be brought into the panel to speak. Please be prepared to state your name for the record and observe the time limit of 3 minutes. Agenda item number 3, approval of the minutes for fiscal year 2022-23 Budget Committee meeting minutes. Our next order of business is to review the minutes from the fiscal year 2022-23 Budget Committee meeting. These were posted online with last week's meeting agenda and provided to the committee in their packets. Please raise your hand if you wish to provide any corrections or addition to the minutes. Seeing none, do I have a motion to approve the minutes for the fiscal year 2022-2023 Budget Committee meeting?
So moved. Stovall.
Thank you, Mayor. And is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. We have a motion by Mayor Stovall that was seconded by Councillor Gladfelter to approve the minutes for the fiscal year 22-23 Budget Committee meeting. Is there any discussion on the motion? I see none. All in favor, say aye and raise your hand.
Aye.
Aye.
Hi.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. I'll give you a moment to go ahead and put your virtual hands down. Thank you. All opposed, say nay and raise your hand. Seeing no nay votes, the motion passes. Item number 4, public comment for proposed budget. We'll now move on to the agenda item for public comment on the proposed budget for fiscal year 2023-24. Do we have members of the community who signed up to testify this evening?
Chair, we do not have any public testimony this evening.
Thank you. Well, then we will move on to agenda item number 5. This is the follow-up from the Budget Committee meeting that we had last week on April 20th. Staff will now provide follow-up information from the meeting of April 20th, 2023.
As soon as I get my unmute button back, just a quick recap of what we did last week, which was you heard the city manager's budget message, which was described as taking flight with a focus on implementing our financial roadmap, implementing our strategic plan, and improving transparency. You also heard from various managers about the services provided through the city's budget, along with the highlights of the strategic plan actions and initiatives that are being addressed. You also heard from Elizabeth McCann regarding the technical aspects of the proposed budget. You also held the Budget Committee's state shared revenue hearing. And then we sent you off with a whole lot of stuff to review and read through. And several of you did provide written questions in advance. And we did compile responses to all of those questions and sent those to you this morning and also posted those on the city's website. So our next steps are for you to hold whatever further discussion you need and ultimately for you to approve the budget, either as proposed or as amended, and to approve the tax rates. So as a note, staff has provided one proposed budget amendment for your consideration. We have been notified of a grant award since we compiled the proposed budget, and we have a simple amendment that would allow us to add that associated revenue and expense if you are so inclined. If you do not choose to do that this evening, we do have other procedural steps that we can take later in the process, but it is something that there's an opportunity to address this evening in probably a fairly simple, straightforward manner. And that concludes my update, and I will turn it back to you. Thank you.
So thank you to the committee. There were 40 questions submitted. So thank you for being so diligent in your review of the proposed budget. And also thank you, staff, for your thorough follow-up on those. We'll now move on to agenda item number 6. We will open the meeting up for committee discussion. Are there Budget Committee members who have comments regarding the proposed budget? All right, everybody must have read all of those answers as well, so perfect. Seeing none, we will go ahead and move on to agenda item number 7, and it looks like we might have a question. Teresa, did you have a question?
I just want to formally compliment both the questioners, the people who submitted questions, because they were extremely well thought out and thorough, and the responses, well researched, and really improved my understanding of areas that had some question marks. So again, I just want to formally put it into the record that I compliment the hard work that the staff did to answer those really good questions.
Absolutely, thank you. I'm pretty confident the Budget Committee echoes those sentiments as well. We're now moving on to the next item, which is the approval of the fiscal year 2023-24 budget and tax rate or recess to a later date. At this time,
will this be the appropriate time to enter that motion to amend the budget that was suggested?
yeah, I'm going to go over the options
Okay.
that you have. There's 3 different actions. That would be action item number 2. So I'll go ahead and review those so you're aware of all of your choices that you have. The 3 actions would be as follows. The first would be to approve the budget with no changes. The second, approve the budget with amendments. And in your packet, you do have the proposed verbiage for that amendment. Or 3, you could recess the meeting until another date. What action would the committee like to take this evening?
I don't know formally, Kevin, I know Kevin, you'll keep us honest. If now would be an approach to say, recommend that we do number 2 and propose or enter the amendment that was articulated to take into account that grant that we received. I mean, is that the correct parliamentary procedure?
Yeah. Thank you, Member Shirky. I believe what the chair is asking for is a motion at this time. She's given you 3 options.
So I will move that we go with option 2 to approve the budget with amendments. Is that the correct approach then, Kevin?
I believe that there should be some language that you will have some language that staff has already prepared, proposed language for you to state, and then we would look for a second.
I think what you might want to do is, if the committee, generally I'm seeing interest in moving forward with that suggested motion. So if you want to make the motion for the specific budget amendment, and then the committee can vote on that, and then we can follow along into the section that does talk through the rest of, because the actual budget approval does require some very specific language. So we'd want to break those into 2 separate actions.
Okay, I just wasn't clear if we had to first suggest option 2, vote on going with option 2, and then make the actual amendment and vote on the amendment and then move forward. But I'm hearing we don't have to do that first part. I just can offer the amendment. Correct?
Yes,
That's
I think
correct.
that would work great.
Correct.
Okay, so then, after all of that, I will move that we amend the proposed budget by increasing the designated purpose intergovernmental revenue by $250,000 and increase the contracted services line item in the homeless services division in community livability in the designated purpose fund by $250,000.
Do I have a second on
I
this?
second.
Okay, thank you. We have a motion by committee member Shirky that was seconded by committee member Baker to amend the proposed budget by increasing the designated purpose intergovernmental revenue by $250,000 and increasing the contracted services line item in the homeless services division in community livability in the designated purpose fund by $250,000. Is there any discussion on this motion? Seeing none, we will now have a roll call vote.
All right, same order as before. Rusty Allen,
Favor.
Jan Baker, she's trying. She's frozen on my screen. Oh, there she is.
Sorry, in favor.
Councillor Danucci,
Yes.
Dave Dyke,
Yes.
Councillor Gladfelter,
Yes.
Councillor Jones Dixon,
Yes.
Claire Leiter,
Yes.
Nick McWilliams,
Yes.
Councillor Piazza,
Yes.
Mike Schultz,
Yes.
Mayor Stovall,
Yes.
and Teresa Shirky.
Yes.
The motion to amend the proposed budget for fiscal year 2023-24 passes. Are there any further amendments? If there are no further amendments, I would like to seek a motion to approve the proposed budget for the fiscal year 2023-24 as amended by the Budget Committee. This motion requires 8 affirmative votes to reach a majority approval of the Budget Committee membership. And I believe thank you. Beat me to it. The motion to approve this budget requires the specific wording that you do see on your screen. So I will ask for a motion to approve the proposed budget for the fiscal year 2023-24 as amended by the Budget Committee.
I move that we approve the proposed budget for fiscal year 2023/24 as amended by the Budget Committee.
And I will second that.
I did not get to hear. Okay, thank you, Councillor Danucci. We have a motion by committee member Allen and it was seconded by Counselor Danucci to approve the proposed budget for the fiscal year 2023-24 as amended by the Budget Committee. Is there any discussion on the motion? Committee Member Dyke.
Yeah, I just wanted to do a quick shout out. I really appreciate staff's time answering a lot of detailed questions. I think, you know, there were a few things in the budget that I might personally quibble with, but I didn't think that they were something that would rise to the level of, you know, kind of proposing any changes here with the broader group. I think the city management team put together a really good proposed budget overall. And I just wanted to acknowledge that I think, you know, Gresham citizens are getting a good value for our money. And I think that's in large part to the sort of work that the city's doing. So thank you so much.
Wonderful. Thank you for your comments. And I think it needs to be said that your comments, Committee Member Dyke, were wonderful and well appreciated. Any question that I had, I looked and knew that you probably had already answered it via your questions. So thank you for that. I do see that Mayor Stovall would like to speak.
So I will second Committee Member Dyke's comments here based on the value for the money, the great work that our team is doing, but I think it extends to this Finance Committee. I think a lot of the work that gets done throughout the year is something that's critical. And I will say that I spend a lot of time looking at this information, looking at numbers, looking at all the things that impact our city on a day-to-day basis. And I am super impressed with the questions that are asked. It showed a deep dive into a lot of the things that I think impact us as community members. And so I can tell you that many of the questions that were asked are very much on point and understanding where our dollars are going, how they're being utilized, and the answers to those questions with our finance team, you know, led by Elizabeth Coffey, Shannon Monahan, Elizabeth Can, incredible job in ensuring that we've got that detailed. And I would implore many of the folks who haven't been intimately involved in this process and didn't have quite the access to go through the questions and the answers that are here. You're watching us as we go through the operations of getting this approved, but that's after having an opportunity to have a thorough review of the information over the last week and getting great questions and great answers. So I would implore those of you who are watching and observing to spend some time in going through the 40 odd questions that are here, looking at the answers to ensure that you've got some of the critical information that you need to see exactly what Member Dyke just referenced in regards to all the great work that has been done. And as we look to the future as we look to the next year in the city of Gresham. So thank you all for all of the great work that you've done and all of the input and insight. And again, look to a great new fiscal year as we turn the calendar over into 2023, 2024 here in a few months.
Excellent summary of our thoughts, Mayor Stovall. Again, 40 questions out of an over 400-page budget and various other documents that were given to the committee to review. So everybody was very diligent in their studies, questions, and thank you, staff, for that follow-up. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, we will now have a roll call vote.
All right, thank you. Rusty Allen.
Yes.
Jan Baker.
Yes.
Counselor Danucci.
Yes.
Dave Dyke.
Yes.
Counselor Gladfelter.
Yes.
Counselor Jones Dixon. I think I heard a yes. Barely.
Yes. Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. Claire Leiter.
Yes.
Nick McWilliams.
Yes.
Counselor Piazza.
Yes.
Mike Schultz.
Yes.
Mayor Stovall.
An emphatic yes.
And Teresa Shirky.
Last but not least, yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. With a unanimous yes from all members present this evening, the motion to approve the proposed budget for fiscal year 2023-24 as amended passes. We now need a motion to approve the property tax rates. This motion also requires 8 affirmative votes to reach a majority of the Budget Committee. The specific language for this motion is now on the screen and is included in the script that the committee has received earlier today. Please remember to state the motion exactly as it is written. Do I have a motion to approve the property tax rates?
This is Teresa. I will make, I'll make the motion to approve the property taxes for fiscal year 2023-24 at the rate of $3.6129 per $1,000 of assessed value for the permanent tax rate levy at the rate of $1.50 per $1,000 of assessed value for the local option tax levy.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, I have committee member Schultz with the second to approve the property tax rates. Okay, so we have a motion by committee member Shirky that was seconded by Vice Chair Schultz to approve the property tax rates as stated. Is there any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, we will now have a roll call vote.
All right, Rusty Allen,
Yes.
Jan Baker,
Yes.
Counselor Danucci,
Yes.
Dave Dyke,
Yes.
Counselor Gladfelter,
Yes.
Counselor Jones Dixon,
Yes.
Claire Leiter,
Yes.
Nick McWilliams,
Yes.
Counselor Piazza,
Yes.
Mike Schultz,
Yes.
Mayor Stovall,
Yes.
and Teresa Shirky.
Yes.
Thank you. The motion to approve the permanent and local option tax rates passes. We will now move on to adjourning the meeting, but I will remind everybody that this has been a long process, much quicker than you have seen now, but it's because of the due diligence of this committee, city staff, city council, everybody here this evening joining us. So thank you for that. I'll ask if there's any other business to come before the committee this evening. Are there any closing comments from staff? And I'll ask specifically Ms. Monahan.
I just want to thank all of the committee members for the time that you put into this throughout the year and over this last week, especially. You had a lot to go through and appreciate your time and efforts that way. Thank you very much.
All right, any other discussion or closing comments, if you will?
I will just second what Sharon said. Thank you so much for all the work, both staff and for the committee. Appreciate you very much.
Thank you. Any final remarks? Councillor Gladfelter, maybe?
I don't want to keep repeating it, but I am so appreciative of everybody, and not to say it over and over, but truly it is a lot of work and it's continual through the year, and appreciate it very much. We're fortunate to have you all.
All right, last call. Okay, seeing no further comments and there's still even sunshine outside. If there is no other business, the Budget Committee will stand adjourned.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Everyone.
Thanks, everybody.